Every beginning has to have an ending. Brian Von VA here, back at it again with another set of D&D stories. This time, we talk about the best endings of a campaign that you have ever had. Part 2. As a DM, my last campaign ended with the party holed up in the Lost Fire Temple of Bahamut with some NPC helpers trying to revive him, return his near-lifeless body from the astral plane where he had been floating for millennia, while the forces of an evil magocracy were battering down the doors of the temple. During the final fight, 2 of the knights that served the magocracy were possessed by avatars of the Twins of Darkness, a pair of twin gods of murder, darkness, and secrecy. During the battle, all but one of the party perished, destroyed by the unleashed power of the evil avatars. But they managed to hold off the attackers just long enough for Bahamut to be revived. The campaign ended with the dead PCs waking up in a very tight space, which felt like a prison, but which they managed to break free from, only to realize that Bahamut had reincarnated them as metallic dragon hatchlings. Saved the world only to end up destroying it ourselves during the epilogue when we caused a world war. Turns out the truce between the Warlock and Cleric's factions was entirely contingent on the big bad evil guy being in power and oppressing both parties. Our first campaign. We were all first-time players and using 4th edition, so the rules got messy. It ended with my character, a half-elf paladin of Cord, getting the finishing blow on the fallen god of our campaign via Omnislash. 2 times 5 D10 plus 7 weapon damage. We really misread the rules, and reality came apart. When it snapped back together, our party found ourselves in a new timeline, with the 4 of us now inheriting the mantle of godhood and setting up the next campaign. Our Dragonborn fighter set off to the west to rule the volcanic wastes, our Eladrin ranger went east to rule the vast woodlands, the Tiefling warlock went north, founding an academy for adventurers, and my paladin went south, creating a new order of Cord and ruling over a large mountain range which was continuously wreathed in lightning storms. We even got to play as our godly old PCs during a flashback session in the next campaign to explain the new big bad evil guy's story. Best ending I've had was in a homebrew 5th edition game. The final battle had us lead a massive army we built over the campaign and an entire legion of dragons up to the moon for a final battle. The end result was the PCs and a couple of our NPCs destroying the object we sought, and not only saved magic itself, but became immortals from the outcome of destroying our target. And from the epilogue, those of us that were immortal eventually ascended to godhood by essentially kicking out most of the old gods, and our mercenary group that had stations in most of the major cities in the world would over time become the biggest religion that worshiped the new pantheon of gods in unison. After saving the city in which they lived, the party reveled in their new fame. Their mercenary guild got quite a bit of work. The business boomed so much that they were able to expand into other regions on the continent. They absorbed a rival guild into their fold and mended ties. The guildmaster and her husband retired to a life of peace. The party's paladin ascended to the vacant position, with the party's ranger as her second in command. The guild's young cleric, merely an intern when he demonstrated great valor in the final battle against the Outer Terror, was promoted to a full-time agent. The party's own cleric stayed on as a full-time agent. The party's wizard took advantage of the money and renown. She launched a clothing line of affordable yet stylish mage robes. The party's warlock vanished from the annals of history, never to be seen again. Oh, and I pissed off the ranger by revealing that an early campaign love affair produced a rambunctious half-elf daughter. He, cursed me for 5 straight minutes. At the end of Curse of Strahd, Druid took Strahd's place with an army of blights to his service. Cleric built a church to the Raven Queen in the middle of the woods. Fighter rebuilt the Order of the Silver Dragon and started hunting down evil entities. Ranger became the leader of a pack of werewolves. Overall, great campaign. Also the first ever campaign for some of them. The best ending I had was honestly when the group managed to get out of the multiverse we were in. That was not our own. We get home and our DM asks us what our characters want to do with the rest of their lives. My Tabaxi monk died before she ever got to teach new generations, but her legacy lives on in her monastery, and a bronze statue of her graces where she died from faulty construction work. and then he set up a plot hook to start our new campaign. As far as my own story, while not an ending, this is a pretty intense point to leave our campaign for, unfortunately indefinite, hiatus. A couple years back, my little brother started DMing a Lord of the Rings based 3.5 campaign. Our party is a human fighter, Breathier, a wood elf ranger, Alanalin, a troll barbarian, either way he's abnormally intelligent, named Boruhum, and his pet warg, Orum, an off and on DMPC human thief, and me, a homebrew race that can wild shape into a dragon, and is based on the Bjorning. Side note, he's done a pretty good job of balancing my character using the environment and some larger scale encounters. Our party has been through a good deal. We've been through ruins, sniffed out an ambush, fought our way through Goblin Town, and met Teddy the Wonder Lizard, and even fought in an actual full-scale siege to infiltrate our big bad evil guy's base, complete with 2 or 3 bone golems. Somewhere between Goblin Town and the assault on Boss's Keep, I picked up a vole named Jerry. I proceeded to train my new little friend to scout for treasures, dangers, and other simple directions. He becomes more important than I bargained for. Anyway, after we bust down the big bad evil guy's doors by flinging a very destroyed catapult at it, I used that catapult in some very unconventional ways thanks to being a dragon, we proceeded to file in and found our way to the catacombs underneath. We eventually found our goal through a mixture of luck, scouting rodent, and a somewhat irritating talking compass. Since we were underground and only Alanalin has dark vision, I sent Jerry to scout ahead. He comes back and relays to me the all clear, so we press on. So here we are, at a dead-end chamber in the catacombs beneath the big bad evil guy's lair, with only a single open sarcophagus. We enter, Jerry Vole leaps from my pocket scurrying into the grave, and 2 more bone golems erupt from the ground. My character had grown quite attached to Jerry, and was quite distraught with this. The golems approach to attack us, and the fight is on. I have to remain in human form, which is still about 10 feet tall, because the chamber is too small to accommodate my wild shape. We go a few turns when the thief starts attacking the sarcophagus. At this point, we realize that there is an orb of green shadow that is growing above the casket. So now all of us are frantically trying to fend off these 2 bone golems while trying to destroy the sarcophagus. A few more rounds pass when finally, Little Bro starts narrating. The orb of shadow erupts into a humanoid figure, robes of pure darkness with only bones beneath them. The Lich floats before you. As he raises his hands, you are enveloped in darkness, then nothing. He's told us that we don't need to make new character sheets, so now we're just waiting for him to find the time to convert to 5th edition. My character exploded a mansion, killed 50 plus people in the blast, and started a war. Everyone died! Our final campaign ended with a massive battle against the Lich in subterranean ruins. It was 4 of us versus the Lich. In the many turns of combat, 2 members, our fighter and cleric, were killed, and I, the ranger, was downed. Our wizard managed to revive me but went down immediately at the end of the turn. On that following turn, I managed to stay alive thanks to some lucky rolls, but the wizard crit failed his saving throw. The subsequent turn, I killed the Lich, but couldn't stabilize the wizard and he bled out. I was left with my ranger standing there all alone with my 3 dead friends and a destroyed phylactery. The worst part is no one would even know of their sacrifice because this was all done covertly as the kingdom didn't want to get involved and lied to their people. End note, it was an incredibly fun game and the story was great, and despite it all, it felt like a proper end. We beat the big bad evil guy to death with a cube of force that we random rolled in a loot table 5 levels earlier. My DM to this day has stated that the item is now banned from the game. Now what's funny is that he refuses to admit that without the item and the trick we pulled with it, we would have been TPK'd. We were railroaded into a gauntlet, we had not even a third of our spells and health left by the time the big bad evil guy showed up. We had no way of escaping, and without that item, no way of killing her. I joined the party mid-campaign. To make my character fit the campaign, I created a Warforged monk built to protect another PC who the locals believed was a god. The god was absorbed into a devourer a few sessions later and disappeared. My character turned nihilist after his god died. Near the end of our campaign, I was accidentally sent to an alternate plane where a patron convinced me to multiclass into a necro warlock to bring my god back. Out of character, I realized it was probably going to be fruitless, but it was a great way to pull the character out of his nihilism. Our last story ended with the whole party taking turns having the power of a god. On my turn, I naturally wanted to bring my god back. I rolled a nat 20 and my god has returned. Luckily, the player who originally played my god was between characters and will play my god again. Unfortunately, I'm now torn between continuing to progress as a monk to protect my god or a warlock in case my god dies again. Suggestion: why not both? Brian Von VA here, making sure to check in after the vid as per usual. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and to ring that bell to get notified anytime we post or go live. And if you want to come check out our sub-channel, Riptovia, please do so, as we have tons of different stories on there, somewhat different from what we have here. Mostly these are one-off stories, or at least two-shot stories. That being said, if you want to submit a story to us directly, go ahead and do so on r/MrRipper. Using a help action, come say hi to me, Brian Von VA, on Twitch and on YouTube. Links are all going to be in the description below. As always, I try to keep it short, brief, and to the point with my positivity, and I just want to say, be yourselves. It's really hard in this world to be anybody else, and you're going to have to constantly jump between who you are depending on what you want to do in the world. But you know what? It's way easier just to be who you truly are at the very end of things. Because who you truly are, that's going to get you your true friends, your true love, and your family are going to sit there and say, wow, I'm proud of you for standing up for who you truly are. Honestly, at the end of the day, you go to bed by yourself though. Even with somebody next to you, your voice, your mind are all upstairs. And they're the last thing that you're ever going to have to worry about. So if you don't like yourself, change yourself, but be the truest you that you can be. Not for anybody else, not for anything else. Change for you. Be the ultimate you, and don't worry about the rest. All the love. I will see you next time. Bye for now.